a message for my people.
Nick Dab, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking its home. I need a crib
Like I'm Gatsby. I need
in
it.
hand. Just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose.
Yes, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum, the number one sports betting vibe on the internet. Number 26 overall as one of the best sports and sports betting podcasts out there. I'm excited for this one. Always excited to connect with my guy, Mr. George Carmona, Mr. underscore George underscore Carmona, Mr. Chat GPT, Mr. I'm here so I don't get fined.
That last the ChatGPT one's accurate, but I'm here so I don't get fined. No, I enjoy being here. So even if it meant that I was gonna get fined, that I am here, I would still do it. I would pay the fine to show up every week. But the ChatGPT thing, bro, God, it's fucked me. Nick, it has fucked me so hard this month. And I was honestly going to make a point on the start a take with start a fight with this take where I said that ChatGPT is going to be the downfall of society, even though I use it every single day. And lo and behold, it made me look like an idiot on the Masters' biggest choke job. I had all that information wrong. Then we do the take that I'm talking about right now. Start a fight with this take, and I bring up the MLB wildcard game, and I could not have been more wrong. It changed in 2022. They went from a single game to a series, and it just goes to show I'm out of touch with ball. And maybe I'm not out of touch with ball. ChatGPT for sure is out of touch with ball.
Yes, and also so am I, because I agreed with you. And that goes to show you that for me, baseball is literally my pastime. I'll throw it on when I'm at home and I'm doing 95 other things but paying attention. I've been on the record saying that I'm a Mets fan. I love the Mets. Shout out to Juan Soto. Shout out to Francis Lindor and the polar bear, Pete Alonso. Outside of that, bro, I can't tell you much else. It's a sport that on a national level, as this show is, more national than it is local, it doesn't do well. The numbers don't do well. It's been a debate and an argument I would have with the old VM guys I would have, because a lot of them are baseball guys. I'm like, yo, just look at the numbers of the content. It doesn't do as well. People in New York care about the Mets and the Yankees. The people in Texas don't, unless you're a Yankee or Mets fan and you're living there. So, yeah, I appreciate the honesty and the transparency. I think that's a big reason why people should not be afraid of AI, because AI still needs to be fact checked. And AI is dope, bro. Listen, you put me on to a editing software, which has been absolutely life-changing. I want to reach out to them and be like, listen, can we get the program for free and we'll do free publicity for you, because it's unbelievable. I've put on 2 people to that and they're like, holy shit, I'm buying you dinner next time I see you, because it has been a lifesaver. Again, we're not going to mention which it is unless you DM one of us. If you guys are in the editing space, DM one of us, we'll tell you. But on a public forum with thousands of people that consume the content, we're not going to do that unless you pay us.
Facts.
Fuck you, pay us. That's the new motto.
I like that.
So yeah, you do need to embrace AI. You need to learn how to use it and utilize it properly.
Yeah.
But, I get it, man. We were busy. We had to bang out a couple of things. That won't happen again. We'll be better on both our ends.
Facts.
And yeah, we always do not shy away from, I don't even want to call it controversy, but if we make a mistake, we'll own up to it.
I mean, Nick, at the end of the day, it hurts. And if it didn't hurt, then I should stop doing the fucking show. That's the way that I feel about it, where it's like, okay, hey, we know what we have to do to be better moving forward. We're doing it. We addressed it to the public. And here's the funny thing about it. And it goes to show how just wild the golf world has grown. The golf one, almost 1 million views in total of, that mistake. But then baseball, we only had one person really reach out and say hey, this was wrong. that goes to show you 1 million compared to one person. That's nutty. But baseball is it was funny too. I was in a baseball jersey and I figured it would be fitting today to put on my Astros hat to keep tying in. We're both wearing actually baseball teams on our hats right now. Oh, actually, no, that's a VM. That looks like old school Miami.
This is a old school VM logo that was made to be the New York Knicks colors. And, you know, since we're talking a little baseball right now, or the mistakes that we made talking baseball, we could say it's a Met hat as well.
Yeah, dude, I thought it was for sure a Miami Marlins hat. They have that same like little, you know, wavy color scheme and what they're doing here. But you were saying you were trying to match the Knicks colors. The Knicks won't be one of the games that we cover or recap from today. But why don't we hop into this NBA playoff talk?
Yeah, let's do it, man. And it's been fun. One thing that I want to mention is if you guys listen to the show on Monday or Tuesday, whenever you could, the last episode, I talked about the approach to player props. I think it's very important just to bring that up again, George, because it's happened, right? And like Cade Cunningham in game 1 goes under, game 2 he goes over. Then you have a guy like Julius Randle. He goes over in both games. Now Randle is not in that tier like a Cade Cunningham, who's probably going to win Most Improved Player of the Year and was an NBA All-Star. And he has the Pistons now 1-1 going back to Detroit. There are certain things, and one of my favorite things about this show, dude, over the years is when, like, you know, because we only record twice a week, sometimes we'll discuss something, you know, full transparency. It's 1 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday. All right. So you guys are going to hear this a whole day later. But it's why I overemphasize talking points like situational betting. Hey, a primetime NFL team that gets blown out the next week, if we think they're a Super Bowl contender, we take them, right? They're undervalued. It's the same thing here where, you know, let's just say it goes chalk. Magic are going to go back home down 0-2. Miami's going to go back home down 0-2. Memphis is down 0-2. Milwaukee is down 0-2. You know what we're doing? We're taking them first half. We're taking them first half with the points. It is a spot that has been very profitable for us since we've started the show. Last year, it had another profitable season if you just blindly always took that spot. And the thought process behind it is, you know, you saw the Laker game yesterday, man. You text me about it. A lot of favorable whistles for the Lakers. Almost the entire starting five outside of Anthony Edwards was in foul trouble going into the third quarter.
Yep.
DiVincenzo had a pretty solid game 1. Game 2 had more fouls than he had like minutes played. It seemed like every time you saw him, he was picking up fouls. So I say all this to reiterate once again that there are certain spots that even if we don't mention it, we're always betting those spots. Win, lose, or draw, it's something that you got to capitalize on. So, you know, with the player props, anytime like a really good player goes under their total, lean to them going over the following game. So that was just a rule of thumb. And like, for example, the guys like Ty Jerome, the guys like Jaden McDaniels, they're not always going to pop off for 20 plus. Maybe lean to the under or fade them completely. That's kind of my rule of thumb when it comes to props.
And I can lead perfectly into an example that you can use for this in the next Bucks Pacers game is Bobby Portis is not going to go for 28 again or 25, whichever he had. He was well above his total. He is going, and he's been a crucial piece of that team, but that's a spot you take the under, you parlay that maybe with the first half total with the Bucks or the point spread with the Bucks, and you got yourself a good little 2-legger heading into that game. Even though it doesn't necessarily correlate, I feel it's playing two strong strategies together. So yeah, that's one that I'm gonna be tuned in on. Do you want to start with, in chronological order, the Thunder Memphis game?
I kind of want to stay with the Bucks a little bit because one of the bets that I'm looking at, and in that game in particular is obviously we're going to take them in the first half. We're going to take Milwaukee first half. And if you look at the line on that game for the first half, Milwaukee, hold on, this just refreshed on me. Sorry about that. First half spread is -2.5, right? So I'm going to take the first half spread. And Damian Lillard came back and he played 37 minutes. It was his first game in about a month and a half. No, I think it was March 17th or 18th, around there was the last time he played. He comes back. There is a rivalry between Halliburton and Dame Lillard. He's been trolling him with the Dame time celebration. Damian Lillard came back, and I think that sort of jump-started him coming back also. Maybe he wasn't ready. A blood clot is very, very dangerous. They put you on blood thinners, and then that is something that could literally kill you. It's why Chris Bosh retired from the game early. It's why Wemby, they shut him down as well. And I know the Spurs weren't in the playoff contention at the time. They had an outside chance of going into there, but it was something where you don't want to jeopardize this guy's life, let alone his career. So
Correct.
Dame comes back. He plays 37 minutes. Him to drop, I think you're going to like this. Him to drop 30 is plus 550. They're going to be home. I think it's a get-back game for Damian Lillard, which means if I tell you, another rule of thumb, if I tell you I think this guy's going to get 30 at plus 550, you know what you should maybe look towards? His player points being 21.5. Take that minus 105 as well. So this is what I mean, bro. In the playoffs, you know these guys are going to play big minutes. There's not going to be no resting, and it's a must-win game for Milwaukee. To your point, if we're going to fade the Portis game, the regression to the mean, we know Giannis is going to get his. Look, him to score 30 is minus 300. So he's scoring 30.
Yeah.
I like Damian Lillard plus 550 to score more than 30 points in game 3, and I like the Bucks minus 2.5 in the first half.
Yeah, I think those are money spots. I took Dame last night in his over, and I took Pascal Siakam in his under. And both of them missed it by a basket on either end. I was surprised by the amount of minutes that Dame played and the amount of shots he was able to get up. That was what I was really worried about. I was like, how am I going to hope that Dame gets 17.5 on a minute restriction? Like, that shit's just not going to happen. But he's full go. Based on like what I was reading about Dame's injury too, is although it was reported that there was blood clots, I mean, this was like the earliest signs that you can catch in it. So his recovery being as quick as it was is thankfully to that recovery. But I think all these people that have been reporting on the effect that Dame Lillard will have on the game, they're not taking into account that like once you've played basketball for 6-7 months straight, yeah, sure, you lose a little bit of cardio, but like these guys are peak athletes. And I think he showed it down the stretch in that game last night where the Pacers almost blew that one, bro. And it was all really due to, I would say, the offense really opening up with Dame being on the floor, Giannis not having to do everything. The Pacers had a real issue with Giannis down low, and I think you would expect to see a lot of the similar things heading into game 3. I am not been a big fan of Kyle Kuzma. I think he was one of the more overhyped mid-season acquisitions from this past NBA season. And in the most crucial moment of that comeback last night for the Bucks, where they're down by 2, it was him that missed the rotation, left Siakam wide open for 3 with 2 minutes left, and it was GG's at that point. So he's going to have to wake up. If he doesn't wake up, I don't think that the Bucks can win a game in this series. Because it took a miracle last night. Going on a 13-0 run with 5 minutes left, that shit's luck. There's luck attributed to that. So what were your thoughts on that Pacer collapse?
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, right? Because in the playoffs, there's always I don't want to call it a narrative, but it's a very popular take. And it makes a lot of sense, right? Where like your superstars show up, whether you're at home or on the road. And then who's the other guys? Remember, we talked about that during the Super Bowl. My biggest X factor in big games, it's the other guys. We know what Hurts is going to do. We know what Barkley's going to do. Who's the random guy that's going to score a touchdown we didn't see coming? Who's Devontae Smith? Now, look, he's a $20 million wide receiver. I'm not saying he's another guy, but when you were looking at the grand scheme of things, he kind of was, right? Dallas Goedert had the matchup, Saquon Barkley, Hurts, A.J. Brown. Well, it was him that went crazy. So it's always the other guys. And I think anytime you're looking at these playoffs, bro, the thing that's super frustrating, and Denver's a good example, they actually got a really good Michael Porter game in game 2, especially the bounce back off of game 1, and you lose that game. It sucks when those other guys have a moment and you don't steal one.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
oh, of course.
A perfect example is, let's look at the Pistons in game 1. Bro, they had 20 plus from Tobias Harris in the first half. You're not expecting that every night.
Right.
That's why it was such a colossal collapse for them to lose game 1. And then on the flip side, the Knicks get the Cameron Payne game. You know, my buddy Impey and I, we would always like try to pick the most obscure player on a team whenever he would have like a crazy moment and be like, yo, this is going to be the Cameron Payne game. Yo, this is going to be
Right.
going to be the Christian Braun game. You know, like it's the most random guy. And then you look at the box score, you're like, well, Jokic had a triple-double, but it's the Christian Braun game, you know, because you don't expect it from them.
Right.
And with Milwaukee, they get the monster game from Bobby Portis, and it wasn't enough to steal one. I think what Indiana is doing, it's kind of the same thing the Clippers are doing. Yo, Giannis, do your thing. Giannis, you had 36 and 34. You've had 70 points in 2 games. Good. Be our guest. Let's try to get, sorry about that. Let's try to get someone else to beat us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, Dame, you got to step up. Bobby, you got to step up. And what sucks, if you are the Bucks, if you are the Nuggets, if you are these other teams, when those average guys do ball out and you don't win, I think it's a gut check, bro. So that's how I felt about that one as we were watching it last night.
Yeah, I could definitely feel like it's going to be Bobby Portis again, that you have to get one more good game from. Like getting back to my Kuzma point, Kuzma had 0 points game 1. Kind of fit your narrative. I mean, he's not a star player, but to score no points, his total yesterday was like 9.5. He scores 12. I mean, that's like a flip of a coin, whether or not that's a good call or not, because his total game 1 was probably 9.5. So the role players you can definitely do without in this situation. But I mean, they're a team that has to maybe look at, different ways of slowing Halliburton down. The Pacers are fast, no pun intended. They're a fast paced team. And the Bucks are struggling to keep up with that. So let's take the first half. Let's take under on Bobby Portis. Let's take the 550 with Dame to score 30. I'm ready for game 3 of this series. This is starting to, after seeing what Dame did coming back, I now have vested interest in this series. It was unwatchable without him in. So that's all I got from this game.
I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. Listen, you take away the second best guy on any team, it's going to be a massive hill for you to climb up. So them getting him back, it's been cool because it seems like, do you feel, what matchups in sports do you think there's real animosity where like the team don't fuck with one another and the players don't fuck with one another and they don't hide it? Because especially the Pacers and Bucks is a perfect example. Remember, Giannis had a career high and he wanted the game ball and they took the game ball from him. And then they beat them in the NBA Cup in season. And then they beat them last year in the playoffs when it mattered. Like, yeah, the Bucks won the NBA Cup this year and no one remembers or cares. I didn't even remember or cared until I knew I was going to ask you this question. And I was like, oh, the animosity between them. What matchup in sports And I know I'm throwing this at you out of nowhere. Do you feel like there's real animosity in a world where now everyone practices together, everyone is friends, jersey exchanges like a soccer game? Can you think of one? Give me some.
Here's one that I started to see bubble up last year in the NBA Finals. There's that Luka Jason Tatum hatred. And I think this is deeper than just basketball. I think it goes to the Jordan brand. And by the way, loved Luka's new commercial. I've been seeing it. I saw it fucking 15 times last night. Great commercials. But I think there's like, it's the high level competitors. The animosity between them just matters more because in 15 years, we're going to be having a show in which we say who had a better run. You know, this is what Tatum did during the same years. This is what Luka did. This is what happened in the matchup. I think desperately that Luka wants to make it to the finals to face off in what would be, I mean, talk about just absolute cinema if we get Lakers Celtics this year in the finals and you get a rematch of those two. That's one that I really feel. And I know that Luka, when he was playing with the Mavs, it's crazy to say it was a different Luka. Although it's the same, like, ruthless versus the referees, getting in people's faces, talking shit type of Luka, I felt like it was a little more reserved last year. He felt like he was the leader. You know what I mean? And now in this situation with the Lakers, he doesn't have to be the leader. He's kind of playing the, hey, LeBron is our guy. There's no way that I can supersede him. So now let me just be the asshole that wreaks havoc underneath. So I'm really looking forward to possibly seeing that matchup, even though I don't think it's going to happen. I think the winner of the West comes out of the Nuggets Clippers series. But I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
Okay.
All right. What about you?
Okay, so hold on. My reaction a little bit to you saying the winner of the Nuggets Clippers is going to win the West got me a little horned up because I am holding a 25-1 on the Clippers to win the finals. You know, I'm thinking of firing off at plus 800 on them to win the West, bro. I think that's a really good bet as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think I'm definitely going to pull the trigger on that. Matter of fact, as we're talking right now, I'm going to fire away. With that, dude, best rivalry going right now. I'm gonna give you players and I'm gonna give you teams. Ready?
Okay.
Jamar Chase versus the entire Chiefs roster. Because Jamar Chase, he's like, you know, do you watch NFL Top 100? Are you familiar with that show at least?
Yes, I'm familiar with it. Yes.
Okay, so it's the top 100 in the NFL as voted on by the players. And
correct.
There's been like viral videos where Jamar Chase is like, I'm not saying his name. They're like, say his name. He goes, no, I'm not. Y'all know who it is. I know who it is, but I'm not saying his name. And the reason why I say it's Mahomes and Kelsey versus Jamar Chase, it's the Bengals versus the Chiefs, because them two are not in division. And that's what makes it really cool, because it seems like there's really bad blood, bro. They've played each other a bunch throughout the regular season. It's always been, I remember talking, I can't remember the last game that they played with each other, but it was always one of those spots where, yo, just take the underdog. It's going to be a 3-point game, because it was like a stretch of 4 straight games where it landed on 3. It was a field goal either way. So you would always just take that. They beat them one year to go to the Super Bowl. Then the Chiefs beat them one year to go to the Super Bowl. I'm saying the Bengals, right? So like,
right.
And it's Burrowhead. We don't give a fuck about Mahomes. Like, Burrow carries himself like the one guy that could go in there and be like, y'all think he's up here. I think I'm above him. And then the team feeds off it, right? Like, bro, some of those Bengals team had no business being in those games with the Chiefs. So to me, when I was thinking about this question and I was asking you, I thought about the Bucks and Pacers because it came up in the conversation. But to me, bro, right now, it's my favorite one. It's must-see TV. Both these teams are going to bring it. And right now, I think it's my favorite rivalry in sports. And it was another reason why I'm so happy that the Bengals kept Higgins and Jamar Chase, because it's like, yeah, this core is still going at it.
Yeah. No, I think that's a perfect answer because there is palpable animosity. And I think playoffs have to do a big portion of that as well, which goes back to my whole yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's where like the real animosity. If you're in division, that's cool. Like you're gonna, if you're a Raider fan, you're gonna hate the Chiefs regardless. But if you're a
Correct.
Raider fan and the Raiders play the Jets like 3 straight years, maybe it's a week 16 game and it eliminates you, or maybe it's a wild card of divisional round. It's like, yo, fuck the Jets, bro. Like now I hate, that's the team that I hate that I don't play often. Like as a Giants
Right.
fan, obviously it's the Eagles and the Cowboys and the Commanders. Bro, the other team I used to hate having to play, you know who it was? Your Saints.
We were tough.
Dude, the Saints, the year the Giants won the Super Bowl in 2011, beat the shit out of the Giants on a primetime game. And it was like, oh my God. Yo, I remember, bro, when the Niners beat the Saints that year, before the Giants played the Packers, I was like this. We're going to the I'm like, yo, we're going to the Super Bowl. And all my friends are like, bro, you got to beat Green Bay. I was like, fuck Green Bay, bro. We're not worried about that. And I was like, I'd much rather go to San Fran. We did not want to play in the Superdome. And what was really dope, bro, full circle moment, I got a chance to have Will Blackman on the show way back when I was doing the show with him. And I told him that. He's like, oh, bro, us two in the locker room. We're like, we don't want to go to New Orleans. And I was like, yeah, let's go. Let's go. I'm going to try to find that clip and post that as well. But yeah, dude, the animosity, to your point, it stems from playoff incidents, right? Like I'm sure Blazer fans, they dislike the Warriors because those Blazers team with McCullough and Dame Lillard were running into them. So I like this conversation, man. I think it's really helpful to understand animosity and rivalries. I know we kind of went off the beaten path, but another thing I wanted to mention is the Lakers and Timberwolves series.
Yeah.
And you text me yesterday. You were pretty fired up about the referees in the first half. I saw no problem with it because I had the Lakers in a money line parlay. So lie, cheat, and steal, baby. This is the problem with sports betting fans, right? When it's in your favor, you turn the other cheek.
Correct.
I know. See nothing,
bro.
But
yeah,
as you were watching. But look, on a serious note, you're right. There was a lot of favorable whistles, and that's another reason why I say the down 0-2 going home for game 3. First half, maybe you're gonna get Jaylen Brown in quick foul trouble when they go back to Orlando, or a Porzingis.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. So how did you feel about the referees there?
I mean, yeah, it was 23 fouls called in the first 18 minutes of play. I mean, just that statement alone seems just insane. So I think it was a concerted effort by the Lakers to attack the rim early. And when you do that, you are more than likely going to force the referees to start calling a game a little more tic-tacky, which the fouls that I hate the most are when the ball is loose and you have two players running after it and there's like a little bumping and pushing to get the ball. And that these were some of the fouls that they were calling where it's just like, you got to let it go. Like, this is the part of basketball that when you start blowing the whistle and you start getting into Naz Reid getting 4 fouls early, which, and this is another thing, and I know we've been, we made our own stat correction early. I've heard numerous times this playoffs where the announcer will say it's a certain amount of fouls and then the graphic pops up differently. And it's got me completely lost, bro. And I'm like, wait a second here. There's a huge difference between 5 and 6. There, a prime example, the big for the Pistons fouled out this last game versus the Knicks. And they were playing the fucking song, Hit the Road Jack. And they were like, and that's his 5th foul. And I'm like, what is happening here? But anyways, back to the Laker game. A shit ton of fouls early. Naz Reid, who I had in a parlay with Anthony Edwards, was in foul trouble. Nothing worse than betting a player's point total over and then seeing him with 3 fouls in the first quarter. That sucked. But I wanted to get to this point where Anthony Edwards going into this playoff series was on a you better not get a technical foul or else things are going to get really hairy, right? They rescinded the one tech that would have avoided him missing time in the playoffs. So he yesterday is picked up saying that's a tech when I say that shit when LeBron was yapping at the referees. So it's this double standard that's going on right now. And I wanted to ask you your thoughts on it because what Luka Doncic does on every possession, if I was a referee,
It's
fuck,
annoying, yeah.
bro, fuck blow like giving you a technical foul. I may punch you in the face. Like I the restraint that these referees have as Luka is just berating them every single time.
Every
And
layup is this.
oh,
Yeah.
bro, my favorite is he does not play defense. When he's on defense, he gets to his spot and then he looks for the referee and he's still talking to the referee. Like he's got one hand on his defender, not looking at what's going on with the play, still yapping. And so I get where Anthony Edwards is coming with this, where he led the league in technical fouls this past year. He's seeing LeBron and Luka both fucking berate the referees, and he has to sit with his mouth shut or else he gets to miss a very vital game. And it's fucked up. There's a double standard in the NBA right now.
My friend, there's not just double standards in the NBA. Life is a double standard.
Yes.
Right? If you see me with a shitload of girls, I'm the man. You see a girl with a shitload of dudes often, you're like, she's a whore. Right?
True.
Listen, that's the double standard. I don't want to sound red pilly, right?
That was
Do
a
your
good point.
thing, do whatever you want to do, but there's double standards everywhere, right? Like Tom Brady, defenders fall at his knees and he goes, flag comes in. Jalen Hurts gets beat up, no flag. Right? Mahomes gets hit, flag. Josh Allen gets hit, no flag. So that's just across the board, right? It's the superstar calls, it's the superstar fouls. It happens every single time. Now, to your point about Luka, it's very frustrating when you're of that magnitude and you have to bitch and moan about calls because I feel like you're going to get them anyway.
Yes.
I think you turn referees off when you do go seek them. Because, like, bro, we know who you are. You're a top 5 guy.
Yep.
You're going to get the call anyway. We're probably not going to give you the call now when you're doing this.
Yeah.
Every single time. We're going to be like, yo, fuck that, bro. Remember what I was telling you about when I would play flag football with my buddies back home? There was one referee my entire team hated. Bro, he loved me. I'd go over there and be like, man, I'm so happy we have you as a referee. Hey, by the way, yo, they late switch in the huddle. They always have extra guys on the field. Just keep in mind for that. They can't guard Finney. They can't guard. They hold them every time, bro. I know you got a lot going on. But you know who would always get the calls, baby? Old Dirt McGirt every single time. And my friends to this day, they hit me up. They're like, dude, we fucking hate him. I'm like, yo, he's the best referee of all time. So you got to play that. Now, if I was always going up to him, though, on a serious note, if I was always going up to him and I'm like, dude, they're holding him every play. Dude, what the fuck? I'm not getting those calls.
Yeah.
It's gamesmanship. It's part of like.
It's a part of the game. Yeah, the craft, the dance.
It's finessing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is. And just think about it like go over to a soccer world, right? Vinicius Jr. plays for Real Madrid. This dude is one of the best players in the world, bro. Every single time he gets fouled, immediately runs to the referee. And now the referee's like, yo, bro, it's enough, man. We get it. Messi never complains about anything. He gets every single call. So to your point, like Anthony Edwards, he's very brash. He's very arrogant. But it's what makes him great, right?
Correct.
Like, my favorite thing about Anthony Edwards is if you ever see how he shows up to the games, sweatpants, hoodie, just chilling, right? He's authentically himself. And that's why people gravitate to him. And that's why I think he's noticing this double standard. But what's interesting is that, bro, you could get these calls too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're up there with them.
Yeah, I mean, he can get those calls just to now dissect the game a little bit. I don't think the Timberwolves operate the best when Julius Randle is their point man. And Julius Randle's being looked at as the guy to generate the offense, which last night was an example of Julius Randle doing everything. And Ant didn't necessarily get going till late. And that's, I think, part of the other reasons why he was even more frustrated in this game is because it took him so long to get into his rhythm. Minnesota fell asleep. Like, this was just I know we talked about the refs and all the bitching and moaning. At the end of the day, this game was signed, sealed, and delivered at the end of the first quarter. It was just up to the Lakers to make sure that lead never shrunk below 5. And they had it done, right? I almost knew it too as soon as Luka's first 3 was that bank shot, where I'm like, oh, it's one of those days. No matter what he throws up tonight, it's going in. So yeah, Minnesota was asleep at the wheel. They better not do that shit out in Minnesota, or else it's going to get out of hand once again. And this Lakers team, the version that we saw last night, if they are able to replicate this, I'm a little less confident in the Clippers Nuggets after seeing how good their team looks when they're operating at full efficiency.
For sure, bro. But I think the biggest thing for them is also Austin Reeves.
Yes.
He had 16 yesterday. He shot 50% from the field. And he just seemed like he had an impact, right? He was like, one thing I don't like about some players, and I think the prime example is like Jamal Murray. James Harden does this a lot in the past. He hasn't done it so far. Mind you, it's only 2 games. I don't like. This is why I would be one of the worst GMs of all time. Like, I'd make Nico Harrison look like a first ballot Hall of Famer. I can't pay you a supermax and then me wondering if you're on the court for long stretches. I can't give you
Agreed.
$50 million and then I'm like, I'm sitting over there with 2 fine Colombian girls and they're like, oh, where's what's his name? I'm like, oh, he's been playing 21 minutes out of the 24. Where the fuck he at? Like, having the no impact for me would drive me crazy, bro. It would drive me crazy. I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? Why haven't you taken a shot? Why haven't you had a moment on defense? Like, if you're not getting it offensively, fucking contribute on defense or something. Do something. And there's certain stretches where guys like James Harden, like Paul George, they just go ghost. Jamal Murray also. And then you have the Lukas of the world, or you have the Jokic's, the Kawhi Leonards are like, oh, he's out there, right? And I say all that because, like, Austin Reeves in game 1, really pedestrian, really quiet. Game 2, he showed up. And if they have those 3 guys playing well, you mentioned Luka being second fiddle. I think Luka has clearly become the alpha. And LeBron is like the most content. He's 40. He's the most content he's been to be like, thank God I got a guy that could like actually create his own shot and do his thing, and I don't need to set him up. So that's why I think Austin Reeves is definitely that third guy who, honestly, bro, like, the Celtics maybe have a better big 3. I know it's crazy. He's a white guy. But like, big 3s in the playoffs right now, like, shit, man, if you could get all 3 of those guys to deliver, they're going to be hard to beat.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to maybe look at the Nuggets, but then I'd be stretching if I said Michael Porter Jr. Just in their overall offensive value to the team. But I agree with you. And to clarify, when I said that Luka was second fiddle, in Los Angeles, in terms of legacy and career accolades, that's what I was getting to.
I totally understand what you mean. I'm saying that, like, it's still LeBron's team, but I think LeBron understands now. He's like, let me just do my thing. Let me turn it on when I need to. Like, he's already had 2 big, like, 2016 Cavs blocks in the playoffs. And that's the thing. Like, this guy is turning it on when he needs to. So I'm excited. I think this is a 7-game series either way.
Oh, wow. I would love it to go 7. I really would. I'm kind of like lost on this series because the last thing I have from this game is, and it shocks me, Nick. It shocks me. And we've had conversations about Rudy Gobert. You have a 4-time defensive player of the year going out there. and getting picked on. I've never seen it. Like it's almost unfathomable that the offensive game plan for the Lakers, which there really wasn't one last night. It was literally just, let's try to get Rudy Gobert switched onto us out in the perimeter, and we will, abuse him. And Austin Reeves did it a handful of times. Luka was trying to recreate the moment from the playoffs last year. And the Timberwolves need to figure out a better defensive strategy, fighting over screens, doing something to put Rudy Gobert inside the block and make sure that, you can have like a good rebounding threat and a person that can start the breaks for you guys, because they were abusing him. And to be a defensive player of the year and get picked on is just, it's crazy to me.
I think Rudy Gobert has always been a phenomenal help defender, and that's where he gets all his accolades. I think in one-on-one situations, that's not where he shines. And then, just to defend him a little bit, he's switching on to guys like Luka, guys like LeBron, guys that
Austin Reeves
take him out of his element, back him out. That's why. So, yeah, I think this is a 7-game series either way. And it's a big series, dude, like for legacy also. Like if you're the Lakers, you don't want to crash out in the first round now that you got Luka also. And then if you're Anthony Edwards, you're like, yo, bro, I'm building off last season's momentum. I just knocked out the king and Luka. This is y'all king. This is what I just did now. So I want to give you a bet before we pivot into some NFL stuff. I think you're going to like this one. It is a same game parlay. We have enough time to, maybe this could be our version of an anytime touchdown.
Oh, shit. All right. I like it. I like it. Let's roll with it.
Check this out. Ja Morant and SGA both to have 30. They play tomorrow night. Dame Lillard to drop 30. And Malik Beasley to drop 15. 56-1. $100 wins you $5,600.
Jesus.
SGA hasn't had that monster game yet. Ja is going back home. We talked about Dame Lillard earlier in the show. Right, it's his first game back that he just played in game 2. Now they have extra days to rest. They're playing Friday night. Him to get 30. They're going to need it in order to win game 3. And then Malik Beasley, he just got snubbed for 6th man of the year, lost into Peyton Pritchard. And he hasn't really been shooting lights out on the road, but now he's coming home. And I would argue that he's been the second best Piston all year, especially on offense. So I'm looking at those 4 right there, player points, adjusted player points, 56-1 odds, man.
I like that. I'm running with that one, Nick. I'm running with that one. Put it in right now. You're driving in the car, pull over to the side, put that one in. You don't want to, Nick, the fact that you even related it back to anytime touchdown parlays means that I'm wagering this.
We hacked the system for NFL. Now this could be it.
Facts.
This could be it. All right. Speaking of NFL.
Yeah.
Good.
I was about to say, I mean, I know we already didn't want to talk about the Thunder and Memphis, but the Thunder won't lose a game in this series at all, obviously. But they will win every game by double digits. That's my last note of contention. So look at those point totals and see if you can get them at maybe to win by more than 15. A little adjusted line there. This Grizzlies team has given up. Take advantage of a team that's given up in the playoffs. And the Thunder, after watching what they did, fuck. Nick, you might be right, dude. You might be right. This is a team that is destined, and we're going to think back in 5 years and be like, holy shit. I can't believe we didn't see this. They're that good.
This is what happens, bro, in all sports when it's not a popular team. They didn't have 45 primetime games on TNT and ESPN. This is what happens, right? And look, I'm not saying I tuned into every single Thunder game, but when you're monitoring what they're doing and when they're really dominating teams like they have been, they just don't have that super duper mega star yet. Look, SGA is definitely that, but he's low key, he's quiet. He don't really say anything aggressive. Like the team to some people is kind of corny because they celebrate together and they're young, right? We always talk
Yeah.
about like the young teams. You do need them grizzled vets also. That's why there's a problem on the other side in this matchup with Memphis. They got no guys over the age of 30. It's cool when everyone's young. Now, there's different maturations, and this has been the steps for the Thunder, right? Like they were fighting for a play-in a couple years ago. Then last year, they're the 1 seed. They get to the second round, they lose. Now they're the 1 seed again, and they're dominating teams. And you just don't know if this is a start of a new era, a new dynasty, where we're looking back at it and being like, bro, they're going to be the favorite next year, and then the year after that, as long as guys stay healthy and if they continue to evolve the way they have been. And guess what? They've built from within. And even SGA, they got him after his rookie year. So essentially, he's homegrown. So I think the more that you watch the Thunder, and especially in the next round, if they play a Clippers or a Nuggets, which that's who they would square off against, and they get through that, and then if they play a Lakers or a Warriors, it's
what
like,
a run.
oh shit, what
This
a
is
run
crazy.
that they've. This has been a crazy run. So yeah, man, I feel really good about that take. I think it's very interesting. It happens a lot in sports where you just haven't seen this team enough. Bro, honestly, the Eagles, bro, this Eagles team that just won the Super Bowl, they really only lost one game. And it was an accident.
Yeah.
Like they lost that game to the Falcons where Saquon Barkley dropped the pass. The other game, they're up 2 touchdowns and Jalen Hurts get hurt. And then the last game was like, I think it might have been the Giants that beat them. Like whoever it was, no one played. Yo, you're looking like, I don't want to get caught up in recency bias, but bro, they dominated everyone but the Rams was the one hiccup.
Right.
And they won anyway, right? But like outside of that, you might be looking back at this Eagles team like, bro, they won what? 20 out of 22 games. It's like, this is a dominant fucking team. And you don't know if you just don't know if this is the start of this time next year. We're talking about Philly being back to back. They lost nobody. They lost no one that matters on their team. And that's what I'm saying with the Thunder. And look, the Eagles are definitely a way more popular team in the NFL than what the Thunder are in the NBA. But I'm saying sometimes you don't even see the dominance and it's happening right in front of you because it's not marketable like other teams are.
Facts. Good point.
I want to mention one thing to you. Do you want a lock?
Yeah. Are we transitioning now to a NFL lock?
Yeah, we're transitioning to NFL lock, and the last little bit of WrestleMania, brother, that you're going to hear from old Dirt McGirt is going to have to do with this one. Does plus 300 sound nice to you, George?
3-1 is awesome.
Okay. Since the pandemic, which altered the entire planet, every WrestleMania has been held in an NFL stadium.
Nice.
Every single host team has gone on to make the playoffs that upcoming season.
Wow.
Tampa Bay in 2021, WrestleMania was there. Dallas in 2022. LA in 2023. Last year was in Philly. They went on to win the Super Bowl. And this year, at plus 300, the Raiders of Las Vegas. I think we got to do it. I think we got to do it for the culture. We got to do it for Cody Rhodes. We got to do it for Roman Reigns. We got to do it for Vegas.
It's 3-1 for the Raiders to make the playoffs next year?
Yep.
The books must have already known this information because doesn't that seem so low?
The Raiders check a lot of boxes of a team that you should get behind next year. New quarterback, new head coach. They've had some good pieces. They just haven't been able to put it together. I think there's going to be some regression in the rest of that division. And Pete Carroll it's the new coach theory. It's a massive upgrade from Antonio Pierce, and then Geno Smith is a top half of the league starting quarterback. It's a massive upgrade from Aiden O'Connell and fucking Gardner Minshew and whoever else they were throwing out there. So I'm not saying that they're going to win the Super Bowl, but they could definitely sneak in as like a 7 seed. I'm for it.
Yeah, I
And why
mean, it
not?
would
It's for the
definitely have to
culture.
be a
It's for the
wild
wrestling
card.
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no, and I would think they would also fall into the category of the AFC West would get 3 teams in the playoffs. It would have to be one of those situations. Because there's just, like, I think next year, it's got to be pretty much a lock. KC and the Broncos, with the way that they surged at the end of the year, I think those two are going to be my teams out of the West. But I like this one, and based on the theory, I should not even be considering the Broncos. I need to go in with the Raiders for Mania, bro. Where's Mania at next year? Do they have it listed already?
Oh, you know where it is next year?
New Orleans, baby.
Yep.
Let's go.
You might be
We're
back.
making it to the 2027 Saints winning the Super Bowl, bro.
You might be back. You might be all the way back. Bro.
Oh,
You might
fuck.
be all the way back.
That's nuts.
Hey, let's end the show with this, bro. I want to talk a little NFL draft. Forgive me if I've asked you this in the past, but how do you feel about the NFL draft?
The NFL draft for me is fun day one, and then it's kind of good white noise to have on the television for the remainder of the rounds. The only reason why I say it's good television round one is because these are the players that are going to make an impact. A lot of the players past the first round may see the field that upcoming year, but more than likely they're still 2 years out from being real contributors. What I'm looking for is which teams I can, have faith in and hoping that the product that they put on the field isn't complete garbage. And the NFL draft gives me a little some hope. Because there's nothing worse than watching certain teams that have not figured out the quarterback position struggle through another year. And I'm praying that this upcoming year, the quarterback trend continues. So it's, for me, it's fun because it's like, all right, following trends, which there's always a crazy trade that takes place that you're not expecting. So I'm looking for that moment. And then this is the first year ever where I'm actually going to a draft party. The Raiders are hosting a draft party at the Palms. Me and my uncle like reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want these tickets?" I was like, "Bro, I'll only go if you go." So this is the first time I'm going to be around other NFL fans and hearing their reactions to other teams. I figure no matter who the Raiders choose, there will be boos. That's just going to happen. You've actually been to the first round of the draft, right?
I've been on TV during the draft. Thank you very
Even
much.
bigger.
On
I
NFL
do remember. I
Network.
somewhat remember you telling me the story, but
I post a
they
clip
always
every
do.
year. Yeah, I post a clip every year. It'll be up today if you're watching. Here's the thing, right? Rule of thumb. If your team drafts an offensive or defensive lineman, you're going to boo.
Yep.
If your team drafts a wide receiver or running back, you're going to cheer it because it's the fantasy aspect. It's fun, right? A quarterback is going to get 50-50. And yeah, people are never happy with the draft. Like, they're never happy. I have been on record many times. It is my least favorite content we have to do. We do it because we're sheep and we follow what is trending and what is popular. It's a filler in space to talk football. The reason why I say that, this is my favorite draft story grade of all time. In 2012, the Seattle Seahawks, per Yahoo Sports and ESPN insiders, got an F grade on their draft. In that draft, they drafted Russell Wilson and they drafted Bobby Wagner. Don't nobody know a thing. It is a complete unknown. A third of the first round is not going to re-sign their rookie contract with the team that drafted them. A third of the first round is going to be Pro Bowl level talent. A third of the first round is going to be, all right, we don't need a left guard, but
Right.
we could have better, but it's cool. We don't need to address this position, which to me is a win also. That's the first round that we're talking about.
Yes.
And like, Bro, Puka was a 5th round pick. He's a top 10 wide receiver now in the league. We know about Brady in the 6th round. We know about Antonio
Brock
Brown
Purdy.
in the 5th round. Brock Purdy, Super Bowl representative, winning record, last pick of the draft. Nobody knows a damn thing, and people are going to boo it. There were a couple Raider people that booed the Brock Bowers pick because they're like, yo, we have a tight end. Why even take a tight end? And now he's probably going to be the number 1 tight end taken in fantasy football. So
dare I say
that's kind of that's kind of how I feel about the draft.
For sure. I was contemplating there. I was like, do I call him the best player on the team? And I was like, Mad Max is for sure better than him, but I don't know. There's just not enough of a record yet to tell the difference. But I am like I was saying earlier, I'm really excited about this whole quarterback trend that we saw last year, and even the year before that, where last year there was a record-setting amount, or tied the record for 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. The last time that happened was in the 80s. I think the trend continues again this year. Do I think it's 6 taken off the board? No, but I think it's well above the where the line is set at 2.5. I think it's going to go well over 2.5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I think you look at the teams like the Titans, the Browns, the Raiders, the Giants, the Jets, the Saints, the Steelers, all in need of, if not a quarterback now, a quarterback in the next couple of years. These teams are going to be willing to pull the trigger earlier on. I was saying to you before the show, the reason why I'm calling it the trend now is because I feel like after those years that the Giants had and creating a team that was able to defeat Brady, and how you get that done, you have a great defensive line and you get after the quarterback with 4 and you drop the rest into coverage. All those years after the Giants were successful with that model, what did you see in the draft? You saw the Jadeveon Clowneys. You saw the Myles Garretts. The list goes on and on with the edge rushers that people were selecting way higher than what people were projecting these edge rushers to go. So this year, even though people are going to be like, the biggest storyline is obviously, where does Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback that has his jersey number retired at the University of Colorado before he even gets fucking drafted, where does he end up? Before we recorded the show, literally an hour before, his line moved from over under being drafted at it was at 8.5. It's now moved all the way up to 21.5. So there's definitely big reports that have leaked showing that he is going to go later on in the draft. And I know that tees you up perfectly. What is your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders and where he's going to end up?
So based on that information, bro, I want to take a stab at the Dallas Cowboys taking Shedeur Sanders.
Ooh.
And the Dallas Cowboys position of Dallas Cowboys first NFL draft pick. Now, doesn't mean it's the first round. Like, if they trade out of it, it's still alive. It's what they take first. Bro, if he drops, I think it's in play.
Yeah.
I think it's in play. Right now, the Dallas Cowboys currently have the 12th pick. If he drops and he's there, right? We've spoke about Dak and how they could get out of that contract, and they've had him restructure, and it's just been the Cowboys are 1-5-12 season away from doing a complete rebuild and getting rid of him. I think they've understood that they've hit the ceiling. I know Deion Sanders signed the contract extension with Colorado, but he could get out of that if the Cowboys come and they're like, yo, here's $15 million a year to coach Dallas Inger's son. I think 40-1 that the Cowboys' first pick is a quarterback, I think is definitely live. Staying with that, another guy that's made some headlines, Jackson Dart. What do you think of the Jets being the team to draft him at 21-1? Now, that doesn't mean he has to be the first round pick. The Jets right now, they have the 7th pick in the draft. if they don't take him with the 7th pick in the draft, but then they take him in the 2nd round or the 3rd round or the 6th round, if it happened and he dropped that far, this
Right.
bet is still in play. So that's why you got to be very careful. It's the same way we talk about how these casinos have these guidelines. You need to be very careful as like the rules and regulations of each bet that you're making.
Correct.
First pick for the team and then to be picked by the team is 2 way different bets. And that's what I'm looking at right now. Jackson Dart 21-1 to be taken by the New York Football Jets.
It's funny because they kind of look alike, Zach Wilson and Jackson Dart. Like if you you just kind of just go like they have a type, you know. That'd be a wild move. So I was telling you during the college football season last year, I was like, I think this kid's one of the more underrated quarterbacks at this moment in time. Their team fucking kicked the shit out of Arkansas. They beat Arkansas like 63-17 or something. And I got to witness, 500 passing yards by this kid. And I'm like, he's composed. He made good checks at the line. He was always on time. And I think he's one of those quarterbacks that you're going to see that helps us hit this over. My bet of the show is over 2.5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. And if you can find alternate lines in there, I would definitely, sprinkle some on 4 quarterbacks taken in the first round. We saw this last year when the Falcons took Michael Penix Jr. Imagine if they didn't do that, how fucked they would have been later on in the season. They had no need, right? And I think it's the Jaden Daniels can change the course of your franchise's history. And it's the, hey, in the middle of the season, if our stud quarterback, or at least our starter for the time being, aka Geno Smith with the Raiders, if he goes down, we're bringing the next guy up that we want to see that can potentially lead this franchise. And Cam Ward, it's almost like a guaranteed lock. He's like minus 140 to get picked first overall by the Titans. Jackson Dart, I think, goes ahead of Shedeur. You got Shedeur. Jalen Milroe for Alabama. I mean, stud player. I think his prototype very similar to, like, I think direct comp, Anthony Richardson is fucking, they're copy and paste, bro. They're one and the same.
I don't know if that gets me excited.
It shouldn't. No, it should not get you excited at all. I'm not hyping these players up thinking they're going to be the next fucking thing that changes. By the way, I don't think any of these quarterbacks are of the caliber that we saw last year that are these franchise-altering quarterbacks year one. Maybe down the road, time will tell. This is why the draft content is weak as fuck. But the last quarterback I'll add to this is Will Howard. You lose to Michigan. You have to win the college football playoff for everybody in the state of Ohio to not want your head on a stake. You go and you win the college football national championship. There's something about the championship aura that I think if you bought into that with him, and he's a good quarterback. I mean, it's aside from him having the best talent in all of college football at the receiver position, he was still good. I think you see those 5 quarterbacks first round taken. So that's my draft analysis.
Okay. We'll wait and see. I think what we should do is maybe one of these bonus episodes at some point. Maybe we do a redraft of like the top 10 of two drafts. How about we do this? And we'll wrap the show with this. Let us know in the comments 2 NFL drafts you think we should redraft. The kicker is it has to be prior to 2021. So anything before that, anything after that, no good. So like we're not redrafting 2023. Right. Got to be 2021 and on. Now that we've had enough to understand what has happened. So let us know in the comments what drafts you want us to do. And we'll put up some polls on Instagram in the comments. Let us know what you guys think, and let us know what you guys think about this episode. We'll fire off some bets and we'll post them. Shout out to everyone on Patreon, patreon.com/Veterans Minimum. Shout out to everyone in the Discord. Follow us on all social media outlets at Veterans Minimum. George, where can they find you?
At Mr. George Carmona is where you can find me. And with the first pick of the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Travis Hunter, and they shock the fucking world. Cam Ward, who are you? I'm taking the best dual threat player to ever fucking play. If you want another play, there it is. That's it.
That would go crazy. That would go
People
crazy.
would go nuts.
People would go nuts. Hey, at Nick Day is 10 news. You can find me. Thank you all for listening, and we'll catch y'all next week.
Peace.
I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.